right, I'm going to start with our devotional, and today's it's called Go. Do you sense something new happening in your life? Do you want something different? Even if you don't feel it now, it's always a good idea to keep your heart prepared for change because it's guaranteed. We've talked about start, stop, and stay. Sometimes the best decision you can make in finding God's direction is to go. Often we're called to stand our ground when the pressure mounts, but many times we need to take a risk. Do you feel restless where you are? God may have planted a divine desire in you to serve him in some surprising way. Maybe he's inspired you with a group of people, an idea, a problem, or a place. Maybe he's calling you to go. Follow that hunch and see where it takes you. Embrace the adventure. The best way to make a leap of faith is to get a good running start. There's a great story in the Old Testament about Abram and Sarah. And in his hometown, the people worshiped a false moon god named Nanner. What's significant is that the one true God chose to reveal himself to Abram. God gave Abram a very simple and direct command. Walk away from everything you've ever known. Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land that I will show you. Genesis 12:1. Emphasis on mine. Leave and go. To step towards your destiny, you may have to step away from your security. To go somewhere else, you have to leave where you are. You have to leave what's known, what's comfortable, what's predictable, and what's easy. To step toward your destiny, you may have to step away from your security. Who knows where God will take your story if you just let him? One day, years from now, you'll look back on your life and you'll see the whole story. What's it going to be? I felt like God was calling me, but I was afraid, so I did nothing. Or will you have a faith-filled adventure to tell? The difference is whether or not you go when God says go. Ask, what is God calling me to leave? Where is God calling me to go? And I just feel like this can be so many people's story. Maybe you're in a situation that you're not happy with, that you don't have the finances to do what you want to do, or you don't have the health to do what you want to do. But even though you're not where you want, sometimes it just feels easier to just stay and deal with it instead of taking the risk and go. But ask yourself, if you take that risk and if you move forward and maybe do the things that you don't feel prepared to do, or you feel uncomfortable and you just go, think about what your life could be and what the God-filled adventure that you can be on.
I want to get in a little bit to belief and self-sabotaging, or in choosing not to self-sabotage, and how we can overcome that. I have a lot of conversations with you guys, and you will start your months off really strong, or you'll sign up and you'll be like, I want to be a jewel, or I want to fully replace my income, or you'll tell me like, I want to sign up this many people this month, or whatever the goal is. And then I will watch a lot of you guys throughout the month. And I'm also speaking from the fact that I have done this to myself many seasons in my business, but setting a goal and then not following through on the actions to get there. And a lot of times that we choose to self-sabotage whatever it is that we are doing because of the lack of the belief in ourselves. And sometimes that comes from an upbringing of just maybe having, at a young age, we're like told, no, you can't do this all the time. We are kind of put in a box and saying, these are your options. And then anytime we try to think out of that box, we will kind of shut down and we'll go in a comfort zone or comfort mode. I wanted to share a little bit about my husband, because I feel like I personally have learned so much from watching him. And we talked about the Success Principles books a lot on our calls or on previous things that we've done. And when I'm reading this book, I just listen to him, and I think this is a gift from God that he has. I don't think that it was taught to him by his parents or anything like that. God just gifted him being able to do this, but he applies so many of these principles to his life. And it's been really, really fun watching him overcome so much and be successful because of the belief that he had in himself. So one thing that my husband had always told me that he wanted to do whenever we first started dating and stuff, he was working as a construction worker under somebody else. And he had told me that he wanted to have his own business and he wanted to go out on his own, which was really scary to do. And he also has always told me that he wanted investment properties and rental properties. Like at a time where we had like $5 to our name, there was no way we were looking into buying investment properties, but that was something that he was saying that he was going to do. He grew up with two parents that worked in a factory. That was his life. If you guys don't know anything about construction, it's all about building with like angles and having to know math, but he didn't even take a geometry class in high school. He actually ended up dropping out of college because he hated school. He didn't want anything to do with it. He started working under someone. He actually didn't, originally he was going to follow in his parents' footsteps. I feel like this is just God and his amazing provision, but he applied to work at a job at a factory and he didn't get it. So he ended up working under somebody else that did construction. And what he chose to do is he chose during that time to become a student of the craft. And he started really learning and not just showing up for work and clocking in to do his job and going home, but really studying and trying to figure out how he did. And to make his way up, then he started saying, well, I can do this on my own one day. So instead of just staying there every day, showing for it, going home, not doing anything else, he started buying his own tools. He started doing taking steps years before he ever got his own business to do this business. So he started buying his own tools. And then he started taking on small jobs outside of his main job. And then he bought a trailer to carry all of his tools in. Again, working for somebody else, not relying on it, but he was slowly taking these steps up. And one of the reasons he did this is because he believed that he was going to be on his own one day. So he was trying to work up, get the investment to do that. So then there came a season in life where he was actually asking his boss at the time if he could have a raise. And around this same time, he had a friend that was wanting to build a house. And the boss told him no, that he wasn't going to give him a raise. And so he was a little frustrated by that, but he also had a friend saying will you build my house for me? And he was scared to death. He was did not necessarily want to do it, but he knew that that's what he wanted to go in his career. So being scared, feeling like just jumping out on his own, he decided to leave the job that he was at and he started going out on his own with his friend, and super thankful for the friend that gave him that opportunity and that start then. But from that, he's always had just this confidence of this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to build these houses. I'm going to have all this investment properties. He's always said that. So it started there. And now this career has turned in where he has built $1 million houses, and he has, he's a super sought after carpenter in our area. And then he's also owns 35 rental properties. But all of this came starting back, just having the belief and the confidence and choosing to become a student of the craft and take small steps during that journey to get there. And it's not like he worked under somebody for a year. I think he worked under this guy for 7 or 8 years. So he really put in the time and the effort. And then I think about my own story. And whenever I first got started in network marketing, my network was my family. I can name the 4 girls that I hung out with in high school. I hung out with the same 4 girls all the time. I didn't even care to go and mingle with everybody else or to expand my network. And I tried to get all of my 4 friends to join me on this business when I started, and they all told me no. It took them years to actually do this with me. But instead of just giving up, I slowly started believing that this is something that could be better for my family. And I decided to become a student of the craft. I decided to become a student of network marketing. I would read network marketing books and I would listen to podcasts and I would watch diamond documentaries. And what happened whenever I was watching all of this stuff is I truly believed that I could be where these people were. I was their stories, they were so inspiring and so encouraging, but I believe that could be the exact same reality for me if I would continue to be a student and I would continue to show up, stay consistent, and work hard. And there were seasons where you get to this point and then you set these goals for yourself and then stuff chimes in and you're like, I don't deserve the success. Like, I can't really do that. And then we put ourselves in self-sabotage mode, and we like will pump the brakes on whatever progress that we have made because we don't believe that we are capable of continuing to have the success. And this is something that I personally have had to overcome. I would get momentum going, and I would work really hard for months, and I would just have like things growing months after that because of all the hard work that I would put in. But instead of continuing with that momentum and continuing to put one foot in front of the other, I would literally just like pump the brakes a lot of the times, and I would stop showing up, and I would stop posting on my timeline. I would stop pouring into my team. I would be burnt out. I wouldn't feel like working. And thinking back, I really believe that it was just a form of self-sabotaging, not truly thinking that I deserve the success that I could have in that company. And it took time to overcome that. And it took personal development, and it took continuing to dig deep to figure out why I was doing that to myself and to move forward regardless of my emotions. It's so hard not to identify our emotions as facts. Whenever we get a gut feeling, I'm not saying that God doesn't give us intuition and God doesn't give us gut feelings, but I do think that there is time to have discernment with that. And a lot of times our emotions are wrong and they're not right. And the very first time that I noticed that is whenever, and it's the plexus slim that helped me notice this, but I would get sorry, we got a lot of kids here. I would get super anxious, and I would get these horrible feelings in the afternoon, evening, especially postpartum. And like, I would not want to take my kids out to Walmart or whatever, because I would be just super anxious. Like, what if something bad happens? And it was my hormones, especially postpartum, trying to balance out and trying to regulate themselves. And it wasn't that something bad was actually going to happen. It was the fact that my hormones were unlevel. So at this time of day, I would get really anxious about things. And when I got consistent on the slim, I realized that I wasn't feeling like that anymore. And it was like an aha moment in my head that helped me understand that just because I feel a certain way about something does not make it as a fact. That was a hormonal imbalance at that time. And just because I was feeling like anxious and unsafe about bringing my kids out did not mean that that was truly going to happen. And I think we do that in our business a lot of times. We get feelings about things, and we want to take, like, we're uncomfortable about things, and we don't want to move forward with that. And we have to identify the fact that our feelings are not facts, and we have to push through that. I have some things that I found about like recognizing if we are self-sabotaging or not. But a lot of times, if you like, whenever I think about self-sabotaging, I think of people that like on our team, plexus wise, that you are deciding you're not posting on your page regularly. You're not following up with the people that you have enrolled. You're not following up with your prospects. You're not posting in the sites. Like, you will stop doing it, or you'll stop doing it consistently, especially if you have any sort of momentum going, because it's just a way to protect yourself. Like, you can't, your only option is to fail if you don't keep pushing forward, right? So if you can recognize your self-sabotaging behaviors, and you can think about the goals that you've had in the past, and if you have accomplished them, or if you haven't accomplished them, why you haven't, and what's caused you not to accomplish them. And then you need to understand like your emotions that lead to your behavior. Like like when I talked about my postpartum thing, one of the emotions was like, it was just my hormones trying to balance. Like, that's why I felt that way. It wasn't because of anything else. And then you have the beliefs that make you start feeling that way and causing you those emotions. And then change your behaviors, emotions, and thoughts. And this is whenever the Bible is so serious about taking your thought captives. Whenever you are having a negative thought or a negative emotion towards something, literally taking that thought captive and replacing it with truth, or pouring belief into yourself, and saying, the word of God is always great to back things up with, but also just the positive affirmations to help you build that belief for yourself. And then develop those self-supporting behaviors. So continuing to push forward even through all of those emotions. And it's really hard to sometimes believe that we can be successful in this company as far as a jewel level. Like that is just a huge goal whenever you're just starting out. Like, thank you. I could not believe that I could get to diamond whenever I was trying to get to emerald. Like diamond was not something that I would even say a lot of the times. I was stuck at senior ruby for 7 years. So it took everything in me to say that I could get to emerald for a season. So diamond was completely off the radar, but I could believe that I could get to emerald. So wherever you are at in your business, do you believe that you can get to at least the next rank? So if you are just starting out, do you believe that you can get to silver? Do you believe that you can find 3 people to do this with you? And once you do that, then it's a little bit easier. You've got the confidence, you've made the first rank. Well, it gets a little bit easier to believe that we could make it to senior silver. And if you can believe that you can get 9 people to make it to senior silver, then we can bite off the next chunk and we can believe that we can get to gold. A lot of you guys, I have no doubt that in your minds, it may be really, really hard to think that I'm going to be an emerald or a sapphire or a diamond, but I bet you can believe that you can get to the next rank. And then when I think of senior ruby, I've got several people that I've went senior ruby lately. And some of the conversations that I've heard them say is emerald's just so far away. Like, I don't know if I can get to emerald. Like that just seems like such a big jump. The jump from senior ruby to emerald is 750 points. It took you 750 points to get to senior ruby. So if you were capable of making that first 750 points to get to senior ruby, why would you not be able to do it again to get to emerald? That's 100% possible. There's no reason that you can't do it. And the proof is that you can do that is that you've done it before. You've already done it once. So just believe the things that you did once, you can do it again. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but I think that if you consistently push and you consistently work hard, there's no reason that that can't happen. And I really do think that every single person that shows up on a regular basis and that will consistently pour into themselves and in their business, there's no reason that they can't be successful in this. But a lot of times it's a mind game, and we have to rewire what's going on up here. And if you're choosing, a lot of you guys are choosing to, that's on here currently, are pouring into yourselves because you show up for team calls. Like that's a great first start. But I still, after being in this business for 9 years, I still wake up on a regular basis and I will listen to leadership podcasts and I will listen to audiobooks and I will try to, like, I get into the word and things like that, but it's a constant growing thing all the way through this business. And finally, after 9 years, the pinnacle of the company is diamond. Like, I truly believe that this is the month that I'm going to be able to hit diamond after paving and going through all of this and doing all the mind work to get there. But it's something that can happen for every single person that's here. And Amanda is a great example of this because she's also been in this business a long time. And last month she hit emerald, and it was a big belief thing for her too. And I'm going to pass it over to her because she's going to share some of the things that she broke down to help her get there.
Here. I feel like everything that Kara said is so good. And it also amazes me how God just aligns everything, even things like team calls, like my devotional talking about how to go and you can change your life. And then Kara talking about mindset and me talking about how that happened. And then if you did the challenge and show me, it's all about self-doubt and mindset. So I really encourage you to do that, because I truly believe your mindset will determine the success of your business. You have to do all the things, but mindset is one of the most important things. And when I ended March, I had about 1,200 points. And so I knew I needed like a 300-point growth, and that April was going to be my month for Emerald. When April came around, I told myself, I'm going to get it this month. I believed in myself and I knew I was going to do it. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't have a roller coaster of emotions all month, like doubting myself. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it. I can do this back and forth, because that did happen. But I feel like we have to take captive of those thoughts and change it. Like, just because I doubted myself, like I would change my thoughts and like, no, you can't do this. I spent a lot of time with Kara, I felt like, because I knew she would always encourage me and remind me that she was like, I have no doubt you're going to get it, every time that I would question myself. And so I think that's why it's really important to show up for calls and talk to your sponsor, and don't just like keep things to yourself, but you have to stay positive. I don't mean like call your sponsor and complain all the time, and you're not keeping yourself in the right mindset. I did not, to get to Emerald, like when I started the month, I did not take time off. I started April 1st, full force, ready to go. I knew I had a goal, and I knew I wanted to meet that goal, and I knew I was going to have to work for it. I have an amazing team. I have so many of you guys that are working hard to reach your goals and helping as well. But I was not going to let myself just ride my team and hope that I got there. That was not my plan. I was going to put in the work and do it every single day. And that's what I did. I prayed over my team. I prayed for their success. I prayed for my own success. I prayed to help others and reach others and be a leader and to get to Emerald. I prayed for that. And it was so great. Beginning of this month, when I opened up my journal, at the front of my journal, I've listed like just over the years and stuff, things that I have been praying for, and like would check them off. And it was so great to see that and being able to check that off, that was a prayer answered, because I truly believe that this whole company is a blessing. I showed up. I showed up to team calls. I did challenges. I showed up for my team. I showed up for people that I was helping. And I don't just mean like I woke up for an hour in the morning and then started answering messages and then went on with my day. I showed up all day long. And when you're trying to reach a big goal, sometimes that's what you have to do. I was so present for my family. I was so present for my kids. I sat on the front porch with Emma while my kids played in the front yard and was there for them. And I worked on the Ranger when my husband was fishing with my kids. But I made sure to show up all day long and answer questions and post and do all the things that we tell you to do: stories, timeline, Facebook groups, and stuff like that all day long. And I followed up every week with specials. I feel like a lot of us believe that we're not going to get the sale until we have a code or someone offers the code. And that's another mindset that I think that we need to change. These products are good. These products are worth it. And especially with Plexus amazing special that they're already doing this month, that they get the 10% off. They always get the free water bottle with the welcome pack. And then they also get the free bag of active. Plexus already is giving us an amazing special. And so following up with that first is fine. Remind yourself that these products are worth it. And if people are willing to make their health a priority, they will find a way. You'll be so surprised when somebody wants something, how they will find a way to afford it. They may tell you at first they can't, but as they are watching you post on your timeline and they are watching health and happiness and they're watching all the things, they're going to start figuring out, well, I can not drink that soda. I cannot drink that energy drink. I cannot eat out for breakfast and I can have this lean for breakfast instead. They're going to find a way to do it. Now, when codes are offered, then that is a great follow-up. But I really want to make sure that you guys understand, do not use a code whenever you're first telling somebody about the product and you're giving them pricing. Do not put the code in the pricing, because it doesn't matter. We always talk about how the fortune is in the follow-up. You have to follow up with people. Most are not going to sign up. And I could probably talk to most people the first time and offer them $50 off. And they're probably not going to sign up because it's the first time they heard about it. So give them the regular pricing first, then follow up. And then when there's a code, follow up with the code. Okay. Is that clear? Don't throw the code into your pricing, because they don't know what the normal price is, Plexus. They don't know if you always have that discount or not. So make sure you follow up later with the code. Don't throw it in. Kara was doing codes the other day for like her team, like a 24-hour flash sale. And I was already following up before she decided to do those. So I just went ahead and did that. And I signed 3 people that day without any codes, just doing it myself. Now, later this month, all the people that I have followed up with, I'll probably go back and do it again with a code to see if there's anybody that needs that extra push to jump on, and that is fine. And okay. So if you have listened to the podcast and show me that I shared, if you haven't, I really encourage you to take 10 minutes and do the mindset challenge with me this week and show me. It is so worth it to work on your mindset. One of the things that I hate to hear is, that's just how I am. That's just how I do things. we are adults, and that's not how it has to be. Whenever you know that there is an area that you struggle with, something that even your mindset, then you are an adult and you are able to change that. You are able to correct that, and you are able to do better. So we don't get stuck in the ways, well, that's just how I am. And I feel like this mindset challenge helps with that a lot. And if you've already listened to that this morning, she talks about a little bit who we believe we are and what we believe we deserve goes everywhere with you. You are a person, and what's inside you, you take everywhere with you. So what you're believing of yourself and what you're believing that you deserve is going to go into your business, is going to go into your life, and what you pour out to others. But she also says, what is the story I'm telling myself? So the way you think is not the way others think. So you have to remind yourself, what am I telling myself? And if it's not good what you're telling yourself, you get to rewrite your outcome. You get to change that. You get to take captive of your thoughts. You get to work on your mindset, and you get to tell yourself, I do deserve this. I can do this. I'm going to work for it. I'm going to show up for it, and I am going to get there. And it's perfectly okay to tell yourself that every single day.
Bailey's going to end it, but I wanted to share one thing that I wanted to add a while ago. A lot of times we, including myself, will fall into like, well, I just don't feel like it right now, or we want motivation or activity to come from an outside source. And I really feel like that's something that's always inward. So a lot of times when we don't feel like doing the things, it's just a time where we have to pull ourselves out of it. And that's whenever the personal development and things like that really come into play. But I wanted to end by reading this. And sometimes it's going to take longer than a 30-minute call to make you guys believe in yourselves. So I just really, really want to challenge you guys spending this week doing Amanda's mindset challenge and really pouring into yourself to help you believe that you are capable of doing whatever it is that your heart desires. I'm going to read something. You are not an accident. You are not mass produced. You are not an assembly line product. You are deliberately planned, specifically gifted, and lovingly positioned on earth by the master craftsman. This comes from Max Lucado, who's a best-selling author. If you're going to be successful in creating the life of your dreams, you have to believe that you are capable of making it happen. You have to believe that you have the right stuff and that you're able to pull it off. You have to believe in yourself. Whether you call it self-esteem, self-confidence, or self-assurance, it is a deep-seated belief that you have what it takes, the abilities, inner resources, talents, and skills to create your desired results. I was giving this book a while ago, but I was trying to find something specific, but I couldn't find it. But in a nutshell, he was talking about having a college degree, but he was talking about, you were like, his wording's way better than mine, but successful people are from people that believe in themselves, and having the own belief that you can actually do that is way more valuable than like any degree can get for you. And he lists story after story in this book doing that. But before we run out of time, I'm going to pass it over to Bailey.
Okay. I just want to add a little bit. You talked about how you have to rewire your brain, and I found that is definitely true. Just because you know what you've heard what the truth is, it still doesn't mean that you really believe it in your heart, or that it's ingrained in your brain yet. So it's okay for those thoughts, those negatives, or the unbelief to come into your mind. You just have to keep taking them over and over and over again to the truth and to what God says and what his word says. And then one day you'll just notice that a flip has switched in your head and you truly do believe it for yourself. So it's okay if it just doesn't come naturally or at first. All right, but the product I was going to talk about today is Joyum, our skincare serums. So we have a day serum and a night serum, and they are clinically tested face serums, and they have 11 ingredients, key ingredients, that help to reduce the appearance of aging. So with our day serum, it helps to just kind of plump up your skin and make it brighter. And then our night serum actually helps to repair your skin while you're sleeping, and it restores hydration and visibly reduces fine lines and wrinkles. One thing I love about it is that they are clean products. They actually go by the UK standards, and they are a lot more strict than the US. So that's really good. Something my grandma has always told me is to make sure you take care of your skin and make sure you take care of your teeth. Instead, if you're older, you're going to regret it. So I've always done that. But the more, like, the older I've got, just the more I've learned about supplements and products. I've discovered that the stuff you use on your skin matters just as much as the stuff that we're putting inside of our body. And so I love that we have a skincare line that is completely clean. And that's it for our twang.
Thank you guys for jumping on here with us today. I know we've taken up a lot of time, so I won't take any more, but it is the last week of the month. So whatever goals that you wrote down for the beginning of the month, pull those out and figure out an action plan of you've got another 7-8 days to hit them. So figure out what you have to do to accomplish those in this last week. And we'll see you guys on Facebook. Bye, guys.
Bye.